The air in the ancient subterranean chamber was thick with the scent of ozone and petrichor, a primal aroma that spoke of deep earth and forgotten storms. A single pulsating crystal embedded in the cavern ceiling cast an iridescent glow upon walls adorned with carvings of winged serpents and women with eyes like molten gold, their forms radiating an ancient, undeniable power. Before a circular altar of polished obsidian, a figure knelt, their silhouette stark against the shimmering light, hands outstretched towards a swirling vortex of mist that seemed to coalesce from the very stone. From the depths of this ethereal mist, a low, resonant hum began to emanate, a sound that vibrated not through the air, but through the very bones, a whisper from the primordial past. When the veils thin and the stars align, the ancient blood will stir. Will you heed the call, seeker, to the prophecy of the Dragon Queen's return in our time? What forgotten power did this ritual seek to invoke, and what profound transformation awaited the one who dared to embrace the dormant fire within? My name is Ilara, and the call to something beyond had been a persistent, almost magnetic pull within my soul since my earliest memories. It wasn't a voice in the conventional sense, no audible sound, but a deep, undeniable resonance that pulled me towards the hidden currents of the world, towards the whispers of forgotten lore, towards the shimmering edges of reality where myth and history intertwined. My journey began not in a grand temple or a bustling city, but in the quiet solitude of my own mind, in recurring visions of a land of emerald green, cradled by vast oceans, where colossal dragons soared through crystalline skies, and women of immense power walked the earth, their wisdom woven into the very fabric of existence. These visions were accompanied by a feeling of profound recognition, a sense of remembering a truth long dormant within me. It was in an old, forgotten hermitage, nestled high in the remote mountains, its existence known only to a select few, that I stumbled upon a series of ancient scrolls. Their pages, brittle with age and smelling of dried herbs and ancient ink, spoke of Lemuria, of its wise dragon queens, and of a prophecy of the return, foretelling a time when their sacred feminine power would re-emerge to balance the world. The scrolls hinted at a true bloodline, not of flesh and bone alone, but of spirit and consciousness, passed down through generations, waiting for the opportune moment to awaken. This hermitage, with its breathtaking views of the world below and its profound silence, became my first sacred setting, a silent sanctuary where the seeds of my true quest were sown, where the whispers of my visions began to take tangible form, urging me to seek the truth of the Dragon Queen. The path unveiled by these ancient scrolls and my recurring visions was not one of easy discovery, nor a linear progression, but a profound journey of introspection and arduous self-confrontation, a spiraling descent into the depths of my own being. Each symbol deciphered, each cryptic verse pondered, each meditation undertaken brought a new layer of internal resistance to the surface, challenging my preconceived notions and comfortable beliefs. There was the gnawing doubt that whispered of madness, of chasing phantoms in the mountain mists, abandoning the solid ground of conventional thought for dangerous illusions. There was the profound fear of abandoning the comforting certainties of the known world, of severing ties with the familiar narratives of history, of stepping into an abyss of the unknown. And there was the terror of confronting revelations that might shatter my understanding of the world, leaving me adrift without an anchor, without a familiar shore. External resistances manifested subtly, not as physical threats or overt persecution, but as insidious tests of spiritual resolve. Whispers of scorn from those who clung to conventional dogma, their eyes reflecting suspicion and misunderstanding, moments of profound isolation where the world seemed to turn its back, leaving me feeling utterly alone in my pursuit. There were also encounters with enigmatic figures, members of a clandestine order, the keepers of the dragon flame, who spoke in riddles and parables, challenging my understanding and commitment, pushing me to look beyond the literal. I remember one such encounter vividly, in a secluded grove of ancient trees, where an old woman, her face a roadmap of wrinkles, her eyes like ancient pools of wisdom that seemed to see directly into my soul, simply said, "The fire of the Dragon Queen burns within, young one. Are you willing to face the ashes of your old self, to let it rise?" Her words resonated deeply, forcing me to confront my own inner darkness, my attachments to intellectual understanding, my ego's need for concrete proof, my fear of my own power. I learned of the ancient entities of suppression and control, the patriarchal forces that had sought to extinguish the sacred feminine, to keep humanity bound to a limited narrative, to the cycle of ignorance and fear, by obscuring the true light of Lemuria. I understood that the perilous revelations that awaited those who dared to pierce their veil were not external dangers, but internal transformations, a stripping away of all that was false, a dismantling of inherited beliefs, a burning away of all that was not authentic. The journey was a series of profound losses, the loss of my simplistic understanding of history, the loss of my fear of societal judgment, the loss of the self I had carefully constructed over a lifetime, piece by painful piece. Each loss, however, brought a deeper understanding, a clearer vision of the path ahead, a sense of shedding old skin to reveal something more authentic, more ancient, more aligned with the sacred feminine. The deeper I delved, the more I felt the presence of the Dragon Queens, not as distant mythical figures, but as living, breathing archetypes, their ancient wisdom and boundless compassion urging me forward, even as the fear tried to hold me back, preparing me for the ultimate revelation. The climax arrived in the heart of the subterranean chamber, the very place where my journey had begun, a sanctuary hidden from the eyes of the uninitiated, a nexus point where the energies of earth and sky converged. The air was now charged, almost electric, carrying the faint scent of ozone and ancient power, and the pulsating crystal in the ceiling intensified its glow, casting vibrant, shifting colors across the cavern. In the center of the chamber, the swirling vortex of mist had grown, now forming a shimmering, ethereal portal, a gateway to another dimension, another time. Around its edge, the ancient carvings of winged serpents and powerful women seemed to come alive, their eyes glowing with an inner fire. As I stood before the portal, my heart pounding with a mixture of awe and trepidation, a profound stillness descended, a silence so deep it seemed to absorb all sound, all thought. My hands, guided by an unseen force, rose instinctively, mirroring the ancient gestures depicted on the walls. As my fingers touched the shimmering surface of the mist, it parted, revealing not a landscape, but a vision of pure, incandescent light, within which coalesced the form of a magnificent, ethereal dragon, its scales shimmering with all the colors of the cosmos. This was not a creature of flesh, but of pure consciousness, a being of ancient wisdom and boundless power. And within its heart, I saw her, the Dragon Queen, not as a single individual, but as an archetype, a living embodiment of the sacred feminine, her eyes holding the wisdom of millennia, her presence radiating fierce compassion and unwavering strength. It was then that the truth, the profound revelation of the prophecy of the return, flooded my consciousness, not as a concept, but as a direct, visceral experience. I saw not a single historical event, but an unbroken lineage, a sacred stream of feminine wisdom flowing through generations, carefully guarded and passed down, waiting for this very moment. The prophecy of the return was not a prediction of a physical queen, but of the reawakening of this sacred feminine principle within humanity, a collective remembrance of our true, balanced nature. The Dragon Queen was not merely a figure from the past, but a dormant potential within each soul, a call to reclaim our innate power, our intuition, our connection to the earth and the cosmos. The rise was an internal ascension, a collective awakening to the wisdom of Lemuria, to the balance of masculine and feminine energies, to the integration of spirit and matter. The impact was overwhelming, a wave of pure, unadulterated truth that simultaneously shattered and rebuilt my entire being, dissolving all previous limitations and expanding my consciousness beyond measure. I felt a connection to every sentient being, to every star in the vast cosmos, to the very fabric of existence, a profound sense of belonging to something infinitely vast and ancient, yet intimately present. It was a revelation that transcended words, a direct communion with the source, a memory of a time when I, too, was part of that sacred lineage, an emanation of the divine feminine, a dragon daughter. Tears streamed down my face, not of sorrow, but of a profound, almost unbearable understanding, a recognition of a truth that had always resided within me, waiting to be awakened, to be remembered. The world I knew, the hermitage, the ancient scrolls, my very identity, dissolved into this boundless truth, only to be reformed, imbued with a new, deeper purpose, a sacred mission to share this awakening. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. And tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to know. The revelation, though profoundly illuminating and liberating, brought with it an immense sense of quietude, a solitude born of seeing beyond the veil, of perceiving the world through the eyes of the Dragon Queen. The world I had known, with its clamor and distractions, its superficial concerns and fleeting pleasures, now seemed distant, almost translucent, its illusions starkly apparent, yet no longer binding. I chose a period of profound contemplation, retreating from the bustling world and the company of others, seeking refuge in a secluded ancient forest, a place where the wind whispered ancient secrets through the leaves of colossal trees, and the dappled sunlight offered solace, its shifting patterns a constant reminder of the dynamic truth I had witnessed. There, under the boundless canopy of the forest, with the earth as my bed and the stars as my ceiling, I entered a state of deep meditation, a profound stillness that allowed the insights to integrate, to settle into the very core of my being, transforming me from the inside out. The forest became my sanctuary, the ancient trees my teachers, their silent strength reflecting the resilience of the spirit, the changing seasons my rhythm, mirroring the cycles of life and death, of awakening and slumber. I spoke in codes, in metaphors, to the rustling leaves and the flowing streams, to the silent stones and the soaring birds, attempting to translate the ineffable into something comprehensible, even if only to myself, knowing that the full truth was beyond human language, beyond the grasp of the rational mind. The conflict within me, the struggle to reconcile the gnostic truth of the Dragon Queen's return with the limitations of human perception, with the demands of earthly existence, slowly dissolved into a profound insight. The sacred feminine was not lost, but merely hidden, waiting for humanity to remember its own inner wisdom, its own capacity for boundless compassion and fierce truth. The silence of the forest was not empty, but full, pregnant with the wisdom of ages, a wisdom that spoke of interconnectedness, of the eternal dance between light and shadow, of the constant loving call of the divine feminine that permeates all existence. I understood that the ancient orders had not hidden the truth out of malice or to hoard power, but out of a deep understanding of human readiness and the sacred timing of awakening, knowing that truth, when revealed prematurely, can overwhelm rather than liberate. The prophecy of the return was not meant to be forced upon humanity, but to gently guide those who were ready to hear its subtle whisper, to remember their own inner Dragon Queen, their own capacity for boundless compassion, their own divine heritage. My time in the forest transformed me utterly. I emerged not as a recluse, forever separated from the world, but as a messenger, burdened with a truth that could either liberate or overwhelm, depending on the readiness of the recipient, on the openness of their heart and mind. I knew I could not simply speak of what I had seen, for words alone would be insufficient, easily misunderstood or dismissed. It had to be encoded, preserved for those who were ready to receive it, for those whose hearts resonated with the ancient call, with the deep yearning for truth. My final act was to transcribe my visions, my insights, my profound experiences into a series of intricate symbols and allegories, etched onto durable parchment and bound into a single, unassuming codex. This codex, filled with the Gnostic revelation of the Dragon Queen's return, the wisdom of Lemuria, and the path to spiritual liberation through the sacred feminine, I then concealed within a forgotten niche in the very subterranean chamber where my journey had begun, a place accessible only to those who possessed the key of true understanding, a key not of metal or earthly power, but of an awakened spirit, of a heart attuned to compassion and wisdom, a mind open to the mysteries. It was a legacy, a silent invitation to future generations to embark on their own journey of remembrance, to seek out the inner light, to cultivate boundless compassion, and to heed the voice that gently, persistently calls them home from the illusions of this world. I understood that the ultimate truth could not be given, could not be taught in a conventional sense, only discovered, only experienced, and that the revelation would unfold not through a single dramatic event, but through the gradual awakening of individual souls, one by one, until the collective consciousness remembered its divine origin, its true home, and the sacred feminine was fully honored once more, ushering in the true return of the Dragon Queen in our time. And as the sun set over the ancient lands, casting long shadows across the forest, painting the sky with hues of violet and gold, one could almost hear the faint eternal hum of the universe, a whisper from the heart of existence itself, a symphony of wisdom and compassion, inviting all who dared to listen to remember their true, boundless origin and to follow the voice that calls them home. And if you like this story, you will definitely love the next one that's appearing on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and activate the notifications. See you in the next one.